Howdy folks, Sapper here, aka Sean, and you're going to hear this introduction again because it's not something that I thought about when I initially started recording, but today is Veterans Day, November 2020, and I forgot to say something at the beginning of the gameplay that you're about ready to watch. So this is going to go onto the front of that video. I'm going to edit it in there, but I just wanted to say thanks to all the veterans out there. And there's that's kind of my little I love me wall right there. So I was in fact, let's go ahead, let's look. There's a young me. That was back in, I want to say 2000-ish, something like that. And then here, this is a really good one. So this is my basic training picture, and if you look right here, this is July 1991, and that is me right there. That's definitely a young me. I was just a kid back in those days, and that is me shortly before I retired. So yeah, these are all my I love me stuff, right? Got some of the coins that I got. Let's see. That was something that was given to me when I left Alaska. There's a young me after a Volksloff in Missouri. There's a field training exercise right there. Where am I? Right there. And then, where am I? This is a re-enlistment in California, right there. Let me see if I can get the glare off there. Oh, that's in California. So yeah, anyway, I just wanted to say a quick thank you to all the currently serving veterans and all the veterans that have served. So thank you very much. Howdy folks, Sapper here, aka Sean, and we're bringing you, I believe this is turn 2, part 2. So we are now in the first strike phase. Let me see here. Let's go down the different parts of the phase. So, part 1A, allocate nuclear weapons. Yeah, that's not happening. Then we did the cruise missile strikes. I think I covered that already. I think I covered in the previous video, I did the cruise missiles. Now the non-allied allocates airstrikes, helicopter strikes, and escorts, which they have done. I've done that here. They're going to try to hit that headquarters that is targeted. They are also going to try to soften these guys up for a potential attack from these Marines, and I believe those are Marines there as well too. Let's look. Let's see what's under this strike marker. So yeah, there's some Marines there. Yeah, those are armored Marines, so they probably have tanks or whatever, amphibious tanks. Yeah, that's what all that is. So we're going to try to soften up these guys a little bit in a potential attack. Let's see, up over here, you can see, you know what? I didn't allocate any planes to that. The problem is the Chinese are starting to run a little low on strike aircraft, so maybe we won't. I don't think we'll do that one this time, because there is going to be a second strike phase. So we'll see what happens. Sometimes it's good to save some of your assets because you are going to have a you're going to have a movement and combat phase where you can allocate close air support, which pulls from the same set of resources, right? So when you do strikes, you're pulling from the ready box right here. And then when you're providing escorts for those guys, you're pulling from the air superiority box. So that's kind of what you see here, right? So you see these two chits here, that's my strike, and then these two chits that are at an angle, those are my escorts. So that's for the strike phase. When you're doing the initiative combat or the normal combat segment or whatever, you're still pulling from this same set of ready markers when you are providing close air support, and you will still pull from the same set of air superiority, or from this box here, when you are providing escorts for that close air support. So sometimes it's good to, save some of your assets. As you can see, the Allies only have one plane left in the air superiority box. So basically, you know, anybody that they decide to allocate for a strike mission or a CAS mission, close air support, is probably going to be on their own. So that doesn't mean they're going to get shot down. If they get detected, then they, you know, I would definitely send up fighters to interceptors to intercept that. So anyway, so yeah, we'll go ahead and wait on that surface action group right there. But then we're also going to send out another strike towards the air defense track as well. All right, so that's what we've done. Now the non-allied side is going to try to detect those airstrikes. And we can send in the interceptors if we detect anybody. So let's look here. All right, can you see? Yeah, you can see that. There we go. I don't have enough table. That seems to be the prevailing theme, is I never seem to have enough table to do the things that I want to do. I guess if I really got good and got some kind of video editing software, I could like embed this up in the corner and all that. But you know what? I'm not that good at that kind of stuff, so it's not going to happen. At least not for now. If this was my job, then I would probably try to make it a lot better. But yeah, it's not my job. I just do this for fun. Actually, you know what? I am on the wrong part. So we are here. So we are going to try to detect this mission. Oh, can't see. We're going to try to detect that mission right there. So that is local, or not local. That is normal ADF. It looks like the Chinese have a detection value of 7 and a SAM value of 7. So we'll be on this column here. Boom, right there. Let's see what happens. Oh, we have the rolling side does have an AWACS advantage of 3, so there's a -2 to the die roll. That's going to be huge. I don't see. Oh, target hex is within 2 hexes of a HQ. There's an HQ right there. So it looks like a -3 to the die roll. So it looks like the Chinese have a very good chance of detecting that mission. So that is a 3. So it is just detected. That means we can shoot at it with SAMs, but we can't send in the fighters to try to shoot it down, which is kind of unfortunate because we did have an F-22 that was providing cover. I definitely, because what we've got here is we've got, where do we go? Come on, there we go. We got that B-1 bomber, so that strike rating is a 6. That's the best that you can get. So I'm trying to take that bridge out right there. So I really did want that mission to succeed. Had I thrown a stealth bomber at it, then that would have made it harder to shoot him down with SAMs. But I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna throw a stealth bomber in there. I decided to just do your plain old B-1 bomber. So what we're gonna do is let's see. That's the only one that we had. All right. So basically what we need to do is we need to see how effective the SAM fire is. What did I say the SAM was? It is a 7. So we're here in that column. I'll go ahead and roll. It's a -1 because it's within 2 hexes of an enemy HQ, and that is it. No whammies, so a 5. So that'll be a +1. All right, so basically that's a +1 DRM. So now we go down to here, and we are going to, so what is that? That B1 is a 6. And we are going by the terrain in that hex, which is flat. So we will roll. We're going to roll on that column. That's why I use the B1, because it has you're using the strike value on the, so what you're doing is you're using that value, which is the 6. So then you go to the 6 column here, which is there. That's why I use the B-1 bomber. And because that bridge right here is in flat terrain, that's why we're using the flat row and then the 6 column. So that's why we are here. Now we do have a +1 because of SAM fire. It kind of, the idea behind that is the pilot's kind of dodging, you know, the incoming missiles and all that. So he's not going to be as accurate. Although in today's day and age, I imagine it's, you know, you probably have targeting computers and all kinds of crazy stuff like that, which does make a difference. It also looks like the pilot skill comes into effect. +2 versus a bridge. I remember for the cruise missiles, I didn't use that. So let's see. So the pilot rating for that B1 is a -2. We have the +1 because of the SAM fire, so we're at a -1. Unit was not attacked by. So we're at a -1, and then +2 versus bridge. And we'll just say it evens out. There's going to be no DRM for that. Again, I'm still kind of skeptical as far as trying to attack bridges. I've seen gun camera footage, and I've seen bridges that have been hit by strikes and stuff, and it's pretty effective. So we'll do no DRM, and we are here. So a 0, that's about the best possible result that we can get. So we got the X result, which is exactly what we wanted. So now, this bridge has been destroyed. And that is exactly the result that we wanted. So now the Chinese are going to be in a, once we do the supply phase, the only way they can trace supply is from this road right here. It might not, now it probably won't affect this stack of Marines, but it's definitely going to affect this stack of Marines, because if you look, that bridge is destroyed. There's no road that goes directly to here because that bridge is destroyed. This road does not connect. So these Marines right here are probably going to be out of supply. This is exactly what the Allies wanted. That's kind of the result that they were trying to go for. So we've spent a lot of resources to blow up those bridges. What is it? A couple cruise missiles and some airstrikes and some special forces guys. We've pretty much thrown the entire kitchen sink at those 3 bridges and finally managed to take out 2 of them. So that's good. We got a success. All right, so these guys are going to go into the flown boxes. We'll go ahead and move that out of the way. Sure that that came from Japan. All right, so now we go on to the non-allied strikes. So we'll attempt to detect those, and then once those have been either detected or not detected, we'll make the determination on what exactly we want to do with those guys. So we'll start here with this group. And we will use normal ADF. Detection value is 7. SAM value is 6. So let's go down here. Detection value is 7. SAM value is a 6. Oh, and yeah, another thing too that I did not cover is you do AAA only if it's not a standoff. So if you look at, there's a little asterisk by that 6, so that's a standoff attack. So there will be there's no AAA fire because that's a standoff attack. Now, if that asterisk wasn't there, then you would conduct AAA fire as well. All right, so let's see if we can detect these dudes. -1 because of the headquarters, which is right there. I think that's it. So just a -1. So that is a 4. They are detected. Now, the only thing that we can do is SAM fire. So let's go ahead and roll on that. So it looks like just a -1 for that. So that's a 3. So that is a +2. Actually, I think I have to roll for each plane. So that would have been the first plane. So he gets a +2. Let's roll one more time. That is a 2. So it looks like that guy is aborted, which is good. Attack, air unit attack and helicopter aborts mission. Owning player may attempt to press on. Nah, that's a reduced air unit, so let's just abort that mission. So we're going to, or abort that particular airplane. These guys will go to the flown box as well because we don't have to worry about interceptors. All right, so that's that. So let's go ahead and do that one. Same air detection value for that one, -1, so that's a 5. That's detected. We'll do the same thing for the SAMs. We have to roll for each one. So the blue die will be the left plane. All right, 6. Actually, so that's a -1. So it looks like a 5 and a 2. All right, so the 5 is +1. So that guy gets +1. This guy, we'll just go ahead and abort him. We're not trying to take losses. These guys go back to the flown box. So that's done there. And then I think we just have the one left, which is the air defense track. Yep. All right, so we are going to do the detection for that. So again, we do the detection of 6 or 7, I'm sorry. -1, that's an 8. So that is barely a detection. So that is a detected. And then, is there? No, I thought there might have been a thing for a different, another modifier for being the air defense track, but apparently there's not. So again, -1. SAM value is 6. So right there. -1 to this die roll. And that is a 7, and that is nothing. So this guy can go to the flown box. And that is it. Now we just roll on these tables. So we'll go ahead and do the headquarters first. We get a -1 targeting. -1 DRM. Let's see what else we got. We got a pilot skill of -1, so that's -2. SAM result of +1, so that's plus or -1. Looks like a plus, or excuse me, just a -1, I think. Yep, -1. All right, so where's the die? Here we go. And that is a strike 3. And that is in urban. So that's going to be that column with a -1. So I basically need to roll a 4 or lower. Got an 8, nothing happens. So that's done. This guy goes to the flown box. Oop, wrong guy. Wrong guy, this guy. He goes to the flown box. Could take that off of there. All right, it's going to be the top Marine, or the Marine unit that we're going to try to hit. So he's probably not going to have very good odds. So that is flat. We are a strike value of 2, so we go down here. The pilot skill is +1 because that is a reduced unit. So the pilot's kind of shaken or whatever. We have a +2 because of the SAM, so that's a +3. I think that's just a +3. So chances are we're not going to... That's a 9. That'll be nothing. 9s never get hits because, you know, we want to roll low in this game. And then last but not least, so that is a 5. This is where I was thinking. So that's an ADF track. So we are on the 5. Pilot skill is a -1. And that is it. So we just have a -1. So that'll be a 1. So we will reduce the, I don't know if you can see that. We will reduce the track by 1. So the SAMs go down to 5. And this guy goes to the flown box. All right. So that was successful for the Allies for knocking that bridge out. Not quite as successful for the Chinese, although they did reduce the tracks, and that will help them conduct further air missions later on. So, all right, let's see what else we've got. So the Allied conducted all of their strikes, and now it goes on to the next step is Kilo, which is conduct naval bombardment. So I was looking into that, and so I think it's the 2. Let me just double check. One of them is the strike rating, and I think the other one is the range. Okay. So this superscript, which is the little 2, that's the range. So you can conduct naval bombardment in the form of strikes in the strike table now if you want. Unfortunately, I really don't have anybody in range. So this AMF can reach something 1 hex away here or here. So I need to move him to here if I want to be able to hit those guys. And these surface action groups are just out of range. So during the naval movement, I probably need to move these guys down the coast, somewhere in this area, both of these, so that they can provide naval gun support, which they cannot do right now. So that is done. Now we'll do collateral damage. There's only one spot on the map where I have that, and that is this. It's not the headquarters. It's the airfield right there that I'm doing collateral damage on. So if we look at our chart here, it is an airfield with a strike 1. So this is the chart that we're going to roll on. Yeah, those DRMs don't apply. So basically if we roll a 1 or a 0. And that is a 4, so nothing happens. So that turns into just a strike 1 marker with no collateral damage. So we'll move that out of the way, and we'll put that right there. I like to cant my status effect things just so that I can see them a little bit easier. And also I have not clipped my status effects, so that way they're also, again, a little bit easier to identify when you have a large stack of chits. Like, I mean, and that's not even as big as you can get, but that's probably the largest one that I have on the table right now. So that's kind of the reason why I do that. All right, now we can use artillery and headquarters strikes if we want. So the way those work, now headquarters have a couple of different functions. They can, so if you look at this headquarters here, so you'll see this superscript 4. So they can do 2 things. They can either conduct a strike up to 4 hexes away, because that's what that number is, which is almost like using artillery, right? It's pretty much the same thing as using artillery. So you conduct a headquarters strike, and you'll use the headquarters row on the strike chart, or you can use that superscript 4 to provide another 4 combat factors to a combat. And let me double check and see if you have to be stacked in the same hex, or it can be somebody up to 4 hexes away. So yeah, the headquarters work like that. You can either do a strike with them, or you can add their range, which is, in this case, it's that, I can never hold this thing the right way. So the range is that superscript 4. So you can add 4 combat factors to anybody within range. So like this Marine unit, if it was attacking, instead of a 2, it would be a 6. When you use one of the capabilities, you rotate it 90 degrees, and you have 2 uses per game turn. So you can use it in the strike segment or the combat segment, and then once you rotate it 180 degrees, they're done. So now we can alternate. So the Chinese only have 1 headquarters on the map, which is this guy right here. And I believe the Allies only have 1 headquarters within range of anything, and that is that one right there. All right, so this guy, 1, 2, 3, 4. He can strike those guys right there. Do I want to do that though? That's the problem. I think what I'm going to do with the headquarters is I will use them to support either attacking or defending ground units during the movement combat segment. That's probably what I'm going to do with them. All right, so we just conducted, or we're in our first supply phase. So we do have a situation where Chinese units are out of supply. So there's a beachhead right here, and it can do supply up to 4 hexes. Or 4 movement points. There's also a headquarters there which could extend that supply. So if that headquarters was right here, then they could extend it from wherever they're at. But the headquarters will not add 4 movement points to the beachhead because they're in the same hex. And because I'm using the refugees, there you go. I'm using the refugees optional rule. They kind of clog up the highways, right? Because you have refugees that are just clogging up the roads trying to get out of the embattled areas, right? So these primary roads are now turned into secondary roads because of that. So secondary road motorized movement is 1 hex. So that would be 1, 2, 3. And there is no road that connects this hex to this hex, so we're doing overland. So that's into rough hex. So motorized movement into rough is 3. So that is a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is 1 too many, or it's 1 higher than the 4 that a beachhead or that headquarters could get supply. So there's 2 Marine units there, and both of those Marine units are out of supply. So we'll have to see what we can do to get those guys back into supply. Probably it's as simple as moving them from here to here. Supply, out of supply does affect unit. I think they defend normally. I'd have to look to see exactly what the effects are, but they are going to affect efficiency rating, attack rating, movement rating, that kind of thing. So it's not an issue at the moment because I don't think my concern with those guys is just getting them back into supply. But so one of the things we can do is if we move this headquarters to say that hex right there, then we would start our 4 movement points from this hex. So it would be 1 hex or 1 and then 3 to there, so forth. So if we move that headquarters right there, then this guy would be in supply. So that's kind of how headquarters come into play too. They give you the combat capabilities as well as helping extend supply. All right, an out of supply unit has its attack and movement ratings halved, and its efficiency rating is reduced by 1. So basically, I think I could try emergency resupply, but that you need to expend supply points to do that. I think the easiest option is either to move this stack down to here, or to move that headquarters to here. Probably a combination of both, because those bridges are going to be out for a while. So I think the best option is basically just to get those units there, and then hope that that bridge doesn't get blown up. I have just wrapped up the initiative movement segment. Quite a bit went on, so it's definitely interesting trying to make best use of sea transport and all these other different things. Yeah, it's, it just kind of gives you an appreciation. This is just a game. Imagine what they had to do in D-Day. Like, I have read The Longest Day, and it's monumental. The fact that D-Day even happened is just a miracle. So anyway, enough of that. And hey, it's Veterans Day too, so how about that? Shout out to, well, this is 30 minutes in. Yeah, shout out to everybody who is currently serving or has served. Thank you very much. And what I'll probably end up doing is I will make a very short clip and put it at the beginning of this video. So if you've made it this far, this is probably the second time you'll hear that for the veterans out there. But anyway, let me see if I can try and recap the movement, because like I said, a lot went on. So these surface action groups, they just moved. They're moving, what is this? This is south. I'm so used to north being the top of the map, but it's in this particular game, north is to the right. So these guys move south because I want them to be able to support any combats, be able to do strikes and things of that nature. So they moved. Their detections were changed. I believe they were point detected, so yeah. We had these armored marines move into this vacant hex. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get multi-hex attack on this guy, because I want this port right here. That's the goal right now for the Chinese, is I want that port, because I would rather not have to rely on that beachhead for supply, just in case things get ugly, right, as far as weather goes. These guys here that are out of supply, I decided to leave them there. That is rough terrain, and I like the terrain advantage right there. So that's kind of why I left them. And of course, if I attack with all three of these on this guy, that'll give me a DRM as well, attacking from 3 or 4 hexes. So these airborne guys moved in. So I'll just go ahead and straighten these out as I cover them. That can be moved out of there. Those guys are done. So let's see here. What did we have here? So I wanted to get guys. So some of these are the Marines that were here, that were protecting that beachhead. So these guys are all reduced. But I wanted to get... I was fine. Had I left everything alone, but I was just fidgeting with them. And so anyway, I wanted guys here on both sides of that bridge so that a Special Forces mission attempting to target and destroy that bridge will be a little less likely to succeed. So that's kind of what's going on here. All right, got that. This amphibious group moved in. They dropped off this 14th Brigade of Armored Marines off. The headquarters, there's an airborne headquarters there, they did stay there. And then this group here, so some of the guys that were here moved over to here, and then the rest of them moved to here. So you can always move a minimum of 1 hex. So the interdiction right here really didn't do a whole lot, because you can always move at least 1 hex as long as it's not prohibited terrain. So these guys that were here, the interdiction didn't really help. But where it would have come into play is if maybe this hex was empty, it would have slowed them down here. So the interdiction, so it's an interdiction 1. So basically it increases the movement value of that hex by 1, and also negates the effect of roads. So this in effect is a rough hex, which cost an additional +1 to get into. But again, you can always move as long as you're not prohibited from moving into that train. You can always move 1 hex. So it didn't really matter right there. So that's there. I moved. Let's see, what are these guys? That's an amp. Those are 2 amp. I'm sending these guys back to mainland China so they can pick up more meat for the meat grinder. Basically, is what they're doing. And then, last but not least, so this group is moving back to China. So that is an amp. Again, we're heading back to China to get more meat for the meat grinder. And then these guys are moving, this whole group right here is moving from China. And they're going to head to Taiwan. So I'm trying to get these 2 MSUs because I think if I get both of those MSUs to that beachhead and I create a supply depot, then that will be a stable source of supply just in case a storm happens. And that's like my contingency if I can't get that port right there. So these 2 MSUs use sea transport points. And then this amp picked up those Marines, and they are heading towards Taiwan. That's why the arrow is kind of going that way. So they're going to Taiwan, and the arrow is going this way because they're heading to mainland China. And one thing too, also that I didn't notice at first. So if you have Supplement 2, they introduced a new order of battle for the next war Taiwan scenarios. And they also had new chits printed out as well. So the new order of battle in the Supplement 2 also has new reinforcement schedules. So these guys, in the supplement number 2, they are introduced at the end of game turn 1. Now, if you look at the original Next War Taiwan game-specific rules, there are no reinforcements for game turn 1. So depending on what you're using, and I'll probably run into little things like that throughout this gameplay. Is like, oh, did I consult this? Did I consult that? And you're going to miss things. But it didn't really affect a whole lot. So this order of battle and these reinforcements are according to supplement number 2. So I think, you know what, one more thing that I did notice is I think I will move this submarine. I forgot to do all naval movement because I noticed that when I saw him sitting in the PRC. So I will move this guy. He will go there. Or do I want to... Let me not do that. Where can I go? Yeah, you know what? Let's go there. We see that carrier battle group steam in our direction. So we'll go ahead and do that. And I think that's it that I'm going to do for the initiative movement. So initiative combat is next, but what I think I'm going to do is I will go ahead and get this video loaded up. So this is turn 2, part 2, and it is through step 9, the initiative movement and combat phase. We have just finished up the initiative movement. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.